Critics always hate the films we think are great, but only one appreciates them all. He serves us every day, he keeps the trolls at bay, though he may be a shade delusional. The shelter of his mouth is moist, he will not give you any choice. Agree with him or else, because he is the film defender.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
Welcome to episode 23 of The Film Defender, serving the public good one underrated movie at a time. Wow, it's been a while, right? You guys probably thought I was gone for good, but I'm back. And I kinda wish I wasn't. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's been a movie that's come out recently I've been looking forward to all year that, again, has gotten a lot of criticism and hate, and that would be Justice League. Yet another DC movie that has been lambasted by the critics. Why am I surprised? This has by far been one of the weirdest responses to a DC movie I've seen. On the one hand, there seems to be a consensus among the reviewers that Justice League is an improvement over Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad. Yet, it has a 30% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and hardly anybody is going out to see it. I'll withhold my rant about people taking Rotten Tomatoes scores as gospel for another time, but I am so disappointed that more people aren't taking a chance on this ultimate team-up. To those of you who haven't seen this movie, and there are many of you, I am going to have to get into specifics in order to properly come to its defense, so I recommend you stop this video now, go watch the movie, and then come back and join us. Consider this your official... And with that, let's get into objection number 1.
Steppenwolf is a terrible villain.
While I may have been a little underwhelmed by Steppenwolf as a villain, I would hardly say he's terrible. On the contrary, I think he poses a credible physical threat to the Justice League, and also hints at more devastating and potentially earth-shattering, possibly literally, things to come. You might even say it foretells a coming apocalypse. Earth's future may be shrouded in the dark side. Have I made it obvious enough yet? Some of his backstory may have been cut out in the final edit, but there definitely seems to be a higher power or being that he's serving. The Mother Boxes are an interesting MacGuffin that both Steppenwolf and various members of the Justice League are trying to get their hands on. The fact that one of these Mother Boxes is used to bring about Steppenwolf's ultimate demise, in essence, points to these unusual artifacts' untapped potential. The flashback narrated by Wonder Woman gives us a pretty good idea of what Steppenwolf's plan is, and the timing of his attack is understandable given the fairly recent death of Earth's greatest protector. I think the real motivation for Steppenwolf can be found when he is stealing the first Mother Box from Themyscira. Remember what he says to Hippolyta right before he leaves? "You will love me." Or something like that. I think he wants the Amazons on his side, even if that means by compulsion. If he had an army of Amazons, Atlanteans, and some metahumans, he'd be a force to be reckoned with, and possibly even get a promotion from Darkseid. Or maybe just overthrow him. Either way. Objection number 2.
The CGI in this film is terrible. Just look at Superman's mustache.
I will admit, it's a little crazy that Paramount forced Henry Cavill to keep his mustache throughout the reshoots of Justice League, when it would have been so easy for him to just shave and wear a prosthetic mustache during Mission Impossible 6 instead. Having said that, I didn't notice anything weird about his upper lip the first time I saw it. Keep in mind that I keep up with movie news as much as anybody, and I knew that his mustache had to be digitally removed from the final film. It wasn't until after first seeing it that I saw the outcry from eagle-eyed and incredibly nitpicky viewers about how awful it looked. The second time I watched it, I paid very close attention, and there might be 2 very brief moments where it's even remotely noticeable. The fact that some people are letting this ruin their entire experience is a testament to how ridiculous the community of movie fans is becoming. And I say that as one of those ridiculous movie fans. I mean, since when did we start taking movies more seriously than anything else in our lives? As for the rest of the CGI, I will admit that Steppenwolf looks a little bit cartoony at times, and some of the environments are obviously green screen. However, no one seems to point out the amazing CGI on Cyborg, which would be incredibly difficult to integrate the mechanical parts of his body with the real-life human aspect. Also, the Speed Force effect that is used whenever Flash does his thing is glorious to behold. Some of the CGI didn't look great to me when on an IMAX screen, but the second time I saw it on a regular theater, it all looked pretty seamless to me. Objection number 3. The tone is so uneven. Are they just trying to copy Marvel now? No, it's called a balance between drama and comedy, which not all Marvel films are able to accomplish. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I get that it can be a little exhausting when the whole movie is dark and grim, but when everything's a joke, it's impossible to take any of it seriously. I personally could have done with a bit more darkness in Justice League, but the comedy that was executed was done so with expert precision. Characters like Barry Allen and Arthur Curry balance out the more inherently serious characters of the Justice League, like Bruce Wayne or Diana Prince. Most of the humor was inserted in a fairly organic way too, which doesn't take away from the momentum whatsoever. For me, and for most of the people in each of the theaters I was in, the tone was pretty spot on, and got all of us invested in the characters and in finishing the job they came together to do. Objection number 4!
The story is so convoluted and nonsensical.
I seriously don't get how anybody could not follow this story. If anything, I'd say it errs on the simple side in terms of storylines. There shouldn't be any question about who everyone is, what they're doing, and why they're doing it. Some people have a really irritating tendency to overthink and question all the rules of a fantastical and fictional universe rather than listening to what the characters are saying and going with it. This isn't turning your brain off, it's allowing yourself to enjoy an immensely fun and entertaining adventure with characters we all love. We know that in Batman vs. Superman, Bruce Wayne saw an apocalyptic future with winged parademons, and after the ominous warning from Lex Luthor at the end of that film, Batman knows that the only way that they can combat this imminent threat is by all of the metahumans uniting. Honestly, the reason for the Justice League uniting may make more sense than the initial assembly of the Avengers. At least this had a very real threat that they knew about prior to bringing the gang together. It was a reaction to a potentially world-ending event that was here, rather than the vague possibility of an extraterrestrial invasion that could happen at some point in the future. Objection number 5. This movie is too short. It should have been directed by only Zack Snyder. For those of you who haven't seen the thousands of reports and news articles that have come out over the last month, fans have started a petition for Warner Brothers to release a Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, thinking that all of their problems with the film will magically go away and that they'll get a lot of footage they feel they deserve. But wait, I seem to remember something. Wasn't there a petition from fans to remove Zack Snyder from Justice League after Batman vs. Superman came out? How ironic. And moronic. No, the final cut of Justice League probably isn't what Zack Snyder would have done, but who's to say that his version would have been any better? It probably would have been more serious and definitely longer, but whether or not that equates to being better is entirely subjective. The only people who saw his cut of the film made a drastic move to reshoot at least 20% of it, so my gut tells me that we got the best version of it available. Joss Whedon has a great talent for making superheroes relatable and human, which is really helpful for characters like Aquaman or Cyborg who seem so inhuman. There may be a few cheesy lines here and there, but for the most part the humor works remarkably well, and I'm sure that can be attributed mainly to Whedon. Plus, there's no way we would have seen that first post-credits scene with Superman racing Flash if Zack Snyder was the only person in charge of this film, and that would have been a shame. In conclusion, Justice League is a truly entertaining film that has some obvious flaws. Thankfully, many of these flaws seem to be less pronounced upon multiple viewings, so I definitely encourage you to see it multiple times in theaters before you cement your opinion. Honestly, it's very different than I was expecting, but the more I think about it, the better I think it is. Justice League is a total win. Justice League's updated status: defended. What did you think of Justice League? Whether attacking or defending, join the fight in the comments section below. Also, is there a movie that you love that deserves a strong defense? We're going to be talking in the future about how we might approach these defenses in the future, but regardless, leave your suggestion in the comments section below. Also, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook at The Film Defender, Twitter at The Film Defender, or you can email me directly at thefilmdefender@gmail.com. I really appreciate all of your support, so if you are new to this channel or you haven't done this yet, please subscribe so that you can see all of my videos or whatever I come out with in the future. Thanks again, and until next time,
The defense rests.